aloitetaan virallinen osuus niin sanotusti tästä. Ja tervetuloa kaikille tänne Tampereelle ja Nokia-areenalle ja tähän meidän Fristads vastuullisuusfoorumiin. Tämän esittelyn kerroinkin jo englanniksi meidän vieraille Ruotsista. Ja tosiaan mä oon todella tyytyväinen, että me ollaan järjestetty tämä tapahtuma. Kiinnostus tätä tapahtumaa kohtaan on ollut vahvaa, niin kuin osaottajamäärästäkin. Meillä oli 30 henkilöä oli maksimi tänne ottaa, ja nyt on niin kuin maksimimäärä on tänne otettu. Ja tosiaan niin kuin Sanna varastikin minun yhden lainin, että tämä on sitten webinaarina järjestetään tämä jälkilähetyksenä, että tämä leikataan sitten tästä tämä tapahtuma. Miksi haluttiin järjestää tämmöinen vastuullisuustapahtuma? On se, että tekstiiliteollisuus on yksi maailman saastuttavimmista teollisuuden aloista. Me Fristadilla ollaan viime vuosina tehty todella paljon töitä sen eteen, että tekstiiliteollisuus ja tekstiiliteollisuuden tulevaisuus olisi parempaa huomenna ja tulevaisuudessa. Ollaan tehty todella paljon konkreettisia tekoja kestävämmän tekstiiliteollisuuden tuotannon ja liiketoiminnan eteen, ja se työ jatkuu edelleen. Ja meidän osalta siitä työstä kertoo sitten Liisa ja Lappas tarkemmin. Ja meillä Fristadilla yksi keskeisin arvo on yhdessä tekeminen. Yhdessä niin sisäisesti meille Fristadilla kuin yhdessä kumppaneiden kanssa. Tämän vuoksi ollaan kutsuttu myös kumppaneita tänne, jotka työskentelee myös vastuullisuuden parissa. Ja he kertoo sitten, millä tavalla heillä näihin asioihin panostetaan. Metso Outoteciltä ja Arella vastuullisuus ja kestävä kehitys on keskeisessä roolissa. Ja kuullaan tänään heidän työstä sitten lisää. Koska yhdessä meidän on helpompi vaikuttaa ja tehdä tekoja, oikeasti vaikuttavia tekoja. Me Fristadilla suhtaudutaan intohimoisesti työvaatteisiin. Ja meillä on vahva halu tarjota meidän kumppaneille parasta palvelua läpinäkyvästi ja kestävän kehityksen mukaisesti. Ja me halutaan olla yhdessä mukana näissä ilmastotalkoissa. Seuraavaksi annan puheenvuoron Liisalle. Ja so welcome Lisa. You are the first speaker.
I can start and I can maybe present myself. So my name is Lisa Rosengren. I'm head of research and development, raw material at Fristads in Viared, outside Borås in Sweden. And I'm responsible for the raw material development. We have a textile laboratory where I'm also heading this. I have a team of 7 people working only with raw materials, which correlates and cooperates a lot with Lappas team, who is the design team. I'm responsible for PPE certifications, also chemical compliance, connected to Outotecilta and so on. And then our EPDs, what we have done in terms of sustainability there, and all our sustainability work connected to the raw materials. Yes. So our vision at Fristads is that every professional should be able to be dressed for sustainable performance. And in the world sustainability, there is a lot involved in that word, right? It's a lot of longevity, that there's a high quality on the garments, but also that it should be sustainable and comfortable, and you can work very well in our clothes. That's what it entails. So first, we base, of course, our sustainability works connected to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, all of them are important, but it's also important to focus on certain goals and bring out certain goals to work a little bit extra with. And we have chosen these 3 ones: responsible consumption and production. This is very important for us, that we are responsible for that our clothes work lasts long and that we have a very sustainable production. Climate action. That's also very important, and I will come back to that later on, how we work with that as membership. Partnership for the goals. Of course, that is also, we work together on sustainability. A lot of us really wants the same thing, a better environment for all people. And that is something that you should not compete or have a competition about. You should work together to gain the best out of it and share your experiences and your good work. So that's important. Our key focus areas will lie in these 3 parts, and that surrounds the whole company, is based on that. So people, we have satisfied employees, planet, sustainable product offer and operations, and profit, of course, that we make it easier for our customers and suppliers to make better choices, to gain sustainability, but also to earn money in the end. How we govern this is like the base, how we control and how we take care of all these sustainability work. So of course we have certain policies where we are focusing on. We have a quality policy, of course, a code of conduct for employees, but also for our suppliers, for sure. We have a safety policy, and of course we are working on quality and environmental ISO standards, where we have a lot work done today. We have an environmental policy, and of course code of conduct, as I just said, is also very important for our suppliers, and work together with them in a long-term relationships. When we started this journey, and we have been working with sustainability for a very long time. Fristads was one of the first companies moving on with Outotecilta in Sweden, actually in the 90s, where it came. What is important to do is actually to take a life cycle perspective on the whole company, and work in every area, because all areas are important for a company when it comes to sustainability. Some areas have a very high impact and some have less, of course. But it also is important that you gather all the members of the company to work with sustainability. And that is what we have actually done. We have done an LCA in all the different areas, and connected these areas into our strategic house, where we have KPIs connected to department and to individual level. And that's very important, that also each and every employee, as me in raw material development, but also you guys in sales, that you have KPIs connected to sustainability, but also other KPIs, of course, and that you feel that you are a part of this journey to make a better environment in the end. And that is what we have done. So I think that all people at Fristads really feel that they are a part of our sustainability journey. So I talked earlier about partnership and how important that is. And in 2018, I was contacted actually by the sustainability manager at Peak Performance, you know, this outdoor brand in Sweden. And she said that, well, we have come together with H&M and Kappahl, and we want to do something together in the Swedish textile business. Big brands like H&M, of course, they have a huge impact on the environment, but they also have big muscles to have impact on their suppliers and on other suppliers. We are talking about chemical suppliers and fiber suppliers. So they contacted us and asked us if we want to join them in an initiative to work together on climate action. And of course we wanted that, because that's been a heart of Fristads for a long time. So we joined, and today we are over, I think, 60 or 70 companies working together on sustainability in the textile business. we educate ourselves, we share experiences, we go together to meet up suppliers, mutual suppliers like raw materials, like fiber producers and chemical suppliers, to have an impact on them to do a better work in terms of sustainability. And that's very important. You should not compete, you should actually go together in a business like this and have a huge impact. Because if all our companies go one by one, we don't have the big spend and the big money actually to have an impact on the companies in the end. So that's very important. So in Stika, we need to calculate the different scopes according to science-based targets and the GHG protocol. So we are, of course, have set goals connected to scope 1, 2, and 3. And these are also, of course, connected to the overall 1.5 degree UN GHG protocol. So we have set a goal in scope 1 and 2 with 50% reduction to 2030. And are you all aware of the different scopes? Or so the scope 1 is actually fuels in facilities and vehicles like company cars. Scope 2 is the consumption of electricity in our building in Viarid, for example. This is the impact there. And then we have scope 3, which is really interesting. That was done later. We started to calculate that impact later. So we have a base year of 2019, but we also there have a 50% decrease. And I will now tell you a little bit how it has gone. We are having the 2021 figures here because we are all up to our ears to calculate the 2022 impact. And scope 1 and 2 is only actually 2% of our total impact on the environment. So this is a very small part of our impact. But still, we have been able to decrease these, and this is actually something that we own ourselves. So we can actually make good decisions to lower the impact here, or easier, I would say, decisions. We have a smaller and more efficient head office and warehouse in Viarid, as we have moved house, actually, since 2018. That is one of the reasons why that has gone down. And in scope 2, we have decided on using better energy sources in these buildings. So that's the reason. But then, if we focus on this one, because this is 98% of our total impact, which is huge, actually. We can skip the other ones and just focus on this one, actually, if you should make a big difference on the environment. But this is also the biggest challenge, because this is out of our hands, a little bit out of our hands, because this is where the suppliers, our suppliers, raw material producers, fiber producers, and chemical suppliers are in. We have decreased from 2019 to 2021. These are quite strange years. You remember 2020, 2021. It's not very easy to say something about this, actually. But of course, we have done a lot of developments with better fiber sources. We have done that. And that lies in this effect. But we have also flown much more. And that is something that we can actually do something about, to take decisions on that. We were building our stock in 2021, which we needed to be able to supply our garments to our customers. But this is something that we can actually do something about for the coming years. And we will do that. And we have a plan. We have actually made a complete investigation on how to actually reach our goals for the future. So, then if I move on then to chemical compliance. We are working, as I said before, with Outotec since the beginning. We have 94% of our total garments is with Outotec today in our catalog, which is very high. And we have also a lot of different chemical reduction programs So we are working on reducing the use of PFAS, which you might have heard of this, what fluorocarbons that has been discussed quite a lot that you want to get rid of. We have some challenges in the PPE sector to be able to reach some levels of EN 13034, this chemical splash, but we are on it and we are working on it. And we have taken away a lot, actually. So what we can say here now is that what we could say in 2019, I could say that we were the first ones in the world. And we did something then. We published our first EPDs. And for us, that was very important when we did the first big green collection that we did and launched in 2019. It was very important for us to really know the total impact of the garment. Because how would you know that a garment is sustainable or more sustainable than another garment if you haven't made a measurement on it? And what is key here is that it's not just an LCA that we have done by ourselves, and we have chosen where to start and where to stop and what to include and what to exclude. Here there are rules that we need to follow, that everybody can go in and look into, and that everybody needs to follow. EPDs, environmental product declarations, are really common in the building industry, which is really close to us because we actually sell garments to the building industry. It's also very common in the food industry where you do EPDs. But now we are offering it on our garment. So you can here see the total impact of a garment in terms of water usage, but also CO2 equivalents. And one other key is also that these are third-party approved. So it's not like it's something that we calculate and then we just publish it. It's actually someone going into the detail to scrutinize our work and to question, how did we do that? Did you follow the rules? And there is an LCA behind it with like 100 pages actually for each and every, and it's based on fabric type. So you are actually allowed to communicate data, and that's why I'm also writing that there is no greenwashing, because this is third-party approved and according to a system. And today there is a lot of talk about this greenwashing. Have you heard about that? Yeah. And that's when you say that something is sustainable, but you don't actually have something behind it. But here you have actually something behind what you are claiming, and that's important. Everything is based on the life cycle analysis standard, ISO 14025, and then all EPDs are published and open for everybody to read at our webpage, but also at this environdeck.com, which actually is the owner of the EPD system. So, the results for our EPDs. You actually then calculate the total impact of the garment from when the fiber is born, all the way through the chain, all the way to the ready garment at our stock in Viarid. That's what it calculates. So that's what you can see here now. And then we have taken a garment that we have had many years, like the PLU garment here you can see. We have done an EPD on that as well, to be able to compare something. Because if you don't know what it was before, then the figures are not actually so interesting or so something that you can evaluate. But here you can see what we have, and we have produced this for 15, 20 years, the PLU garment, and that is the impact on that. You can see 19.4 kilos of CO2 equivalents compared to 11.3 in this new GPLU, green PLU assortment jacket, what we have here. and the water scarcity footprint. And remember that this is a footprint here. We have 40,600 liters in the old version, and then this new green version, 17,800 liters of water scarcity footprint. And that is a footprint of the water because the water is worth more or less in different areas of the world. And of course, here in Finland, you have a lot of water. So there you don't have any lack of water. But I don't think you grow so much cotton here either in Finland, like in Sweden. So that's why the impact would have been much less here than it is where the cotton is grown for these garments. And that's the reason why it looks like this. Okay, and then to be able to communicate with our customer, it was quite tricky because it is quite complex. If you don't talk to a sustainability manager, which actually knows about these EPDs, it's very difficult to explain what you have done. That's why we took out this green calculator. And since we have done over 65 EPDs today, we have a lot of garments with EPDs. And we can then show our customers the total impact of a customer, for example, switching from one, this t-shirt, for example, into this new t-shirt. And you can get the exact amount of water and CO2 equivalents out in this tool that we have on the webpage. You can go in and have a look and calculate a little bit. And if you are using this t-shirt today and you switch to that one, it's perfectly fine to communicate these figures as real figures because they are real figures and not just measured on an average level like other systems are. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Liisa.
Yes.
Seuraavana tosiaan Hannu ja Hannun tiimi kertoo Metso Outotecin Sustainability at Metso Outotec.
Yes.
Tervetuloa stagelle, Hannu.
Tässä on kuva.
Siinä on.
Yes, I fluently continue with English because some of my team is also working in English, and we at Metso Outotec have the presentation in English as well. So thank you first of all for Fristads from my side as well, and thank you for the invitation. I was happy to come here with the team to discuss about the sustainable topics and our views in the company and how we want to do the effect for the industry. And today we have a couple of team members, Kaisa and Felipe, on the online here. So they are more professionals on the sustainable topics, and I represent the global sourcing in Metso Outotec in that sense. So heavily affecting my job as well, the sustainable topics and the vendor selection in a way. We have a couple of more thoughts on that from Felipe in the slides, but generally Metso Outotec as a company, we are mining industry. We are merged company from Metso and Outotec a couple of years ago, and we provide equipment to the mines of the world, which is of course starting point very, let's say, water consuming, energy consuming environment that we work. So we as a company take it very seriously, the sustainable topics. We want to be the number one on this area as well, and this shows in our daily work as well. So maybe I let the team talk. Then if we get the presentation up there, should I use this remote actually, or okay, it's a bit. And now I think, guys, you are not seeing the presentation, but you have it on your desk, so I'll walk it through. So Kaisa Jungman actually is going to start now about Planet Positive from, let's say, sales and product side, I would say. And then Felipe continues with our more supply chain side, and I continue in the end with sourcing views and one example from local factory, Metso Outotec factory here in Lokomogata, very nearby, what kind of actions there has been. So please, Kaisa. First
Okay,
slide.
can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. And please turn the slide, or should I do it? Okay. So, yes, and Sanna Uusikauppila was also mentioned, but she's not able to join, so I'll talk her slides from the local side. So now you have, Kasi, your slide.
Okay, great. So this slide is about the general view of our sustainability work at Metso Outotec. So how we consider it, it's part of the whole value chain. So it links to all our operations, starting from the R&D, ending up to the end product. And as Hanna was saying, that we do equipment and services for the mining, aggregates and metals industry. So our equipment are the ones crushing rocks, conveying rocks, etc. And there's a lot of energy and water consumed in the mining industry. And we can say that approximately 99% of the CO2 emissions are generated when the equipment are in use. So obviously the biggest impact we can do is by providing efficient technologies and services for our customers. But nevertheless, we do have a vast supply chain that Felipe is going to talk about, and we have a lot of emissions there as well that we need to reduce. But yeah, it all starts really from the R&D, where we focus on sustainability targets, so that all our R&D process would have sustainability focus. So whatever we develop, they always as efficient as possible. And of course, safety is one of the key issues in our industry as well. So the equipment cannot be only environmentally efficient, but they need to be safe for the operator. And the planet positive concept we are talking about it's our own concept, where we have developed criteria what it takes to be an environmental technology in our industry. So we have defined certain criteria, certain threshold levels at how much more energy efficient or how much more water efficient the equipment needs to be, so that it qualifies as planet positive. And it's really one of our key KPIs, as all our business areas are following the sales. We have a target for the sales. The sales is linked to our management remuneration, to our green loans, etc. So it's an important KPI, and our target is that we sell more of these planet positive portfolio products than others. And of course, when we innovate and introduce new products, they would also need to qualify as planet positive. And that's of course something our customers are asking a lot, and we need to have the evidence. So as the previous presenter was talking about greenwashing, so we are very precise on the facts we deliver and the numeric numbers. So of course we always have third party also assuring the data, and we have always a comparison technology. So if we claim that something is sustainable, we always have a benchmark technology where we compare to and the data to prove and back up our claims. And Felipe is going to talk about the supplier part and our own manufacturing sites. We do have also ambitious targets on those as well. So even though the biggest impact might come from the technology, our customers are very interested in knowing what we do in our own operation sites, where the materials and components are coming from, and how can we help them to reduce their scope 3 emissions. And overall, we are saying that we're enabling the modern world. So there we say that, as we all know, metals and minerals are needed in everyday life. And when we are now talking about decarbonization and green transition, there's a huge need for more metals and minerals to build the whole infrastructure, the windmills, electric cars, etc. So obviously mining is not going to go anywhere. So our role is to turn the mining into more sustainable, reducing the water consumption, decarbonizing the industry. Thank you. I think those were the main points in my slides, so I hand over to Felipe.
Okay, I'm turning Felipe your slides now.
Hi everyone, can you hear me well?
Yes, really good.
Yes.
Good. First of all, I would like to thank you to invite us to participate in this event. It is always a pleasure to talk about sustainability and learn with our partners and other companies. Then my name is Felipe Antunes. I'm working together with corporate QAGS team regarding supply sustainability, and I'm responsible for environment in consumables business area. For today, I'd like to share with you some quick information about, but it's more related with footprint. Guys, cover the handprint part. I would like to talk more about footprint. I mean, supplier sustainability and some aspects about footprint in our own operations. Okay. But yeah, let's start. And here, I believe you're in the first slide. We can see that Metso is committed to the science-based target, 1.5 degrees. And recently, we set a more ambitious target. I mean, net zero by 2030. That is really ambitious, but a good opportunity also to demonstrate that we are committed and we are on this journey for 1.5 degrees and then net zero. Um, Here we can see also that our key focus areas, as Kaisa mentioned, handprint part, but also many aspects regarding our footprint. But yeah, let's again take a look and have an overview how we are working with our suppliers and also in our own operations. Okay. As we can see, we set specific and challenging targets regarding CO2 for our suppliers. It means 30% of total spend uh, by 2025 and 90% by 2050. That it's really ambitious. And as well, three other targets, specific targets for our own operations. I mean, CO2 emissions as well, water reduction, and landfill waste. These are the most relevant footprint targets at this moment, and every year we are reviewing these and also updating and putting more challenging on all these targets. Um, we have some key actions in place to promote responsible supply chain. I think Hanno, you maybe you are on the second slide, correct?
You tell me when I change, and then I change. So
Yeah, in this
should I go
slide
to second?
with different steps and walks about responsible supply
Yeah,
chain.
now it's the second slide. Yeah,
Yeah, this is the third slide now.
yeah. Environmental targets, footprint.
Yeah, we can skip. You can go to the next.
Next one. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Well, as I start to say that we have some key actions in place to promote a responsible supply chain, since supplier selection process until supplier development. Then for this, we have specific key learnings for our suppliers about, for example, suppliers' sustainability expectations and suppliers code of conduct, and then all these available to our suppliers to access and do these e-learnings in our platform. We have several specific dashboards to support this performance tracking. We have monthly reports, follow up with procurement teams, and we have dedicated meetings with all procurement supply chains. Well, all these initiatives aim to promote a responsible supply chain. And to support all this process, I think you can go to the next,
Okay.
please. I will change also my slide here just to follow you guys. And also to support all this process, we have some procurement management tools in place, some customized suppliers dashboard. Then frequently we are reviewing these and try to improve and customize much more according our internal customer needs. And here we can see the key performance indicators that we are tracking on a monthly basis. Then, for example, supplier code of conduct, engagement related CO2 reduction, supplier CO2 emissions, internal and third-party audits, corrective actions, and then and a couple of other KPIs not listed here, but we have in our dashboards, be part of our monthly reports. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Please.
Yes, I'm getting the rhythm, slow by slow.
Yeah. Then next slide we can see. Let me change the same slide here. Yeah, here we can see we have a general view of our main results and achievements in 2022 last year. Then more than 200 engaged suppliers regarding CO2 reduction, 67 energy intensive suppliers reporting CO2 data in Jagger, and more than 100 internal audits performed by our internal teams. then 15 third-party audits, then more than 92% of our spend covered by code of conduct in sign this formally in the system. Then not here, but I think in the previous slide we see that we exceed our target related CO2 spend committed to CO2 targets. And definitely it was a very interesting challenge, but a very good year related supplier sustainability to us. And you can go to the next slide, please. Well, just to finish my presentation here, then a quick share how we are in our own operations. Then as we can see, we had a significant reduction since 2019. That it's our baseline year. It means around 56% of reduction in our scope 1 and 2. The reason behind this big reduction is basically 98% of our total electricity is from renewable source covered by energy attribute certificates or RECs, and or directly with local suppliers. Then 90% it's a significant amount. I think only in Australia we are not able to purchase green electricity, and we use 100% of biogas in Sweden. And now there are some projects ongoing in Brazil also. We are moving to biomethane in Brazil. And all facilities in Finland covered by green district heat. We are working now in Tampere to move Tampere factory to green district heat, but all other locations in Finland now already using green district heat. Then this contributed with a significant reduction also in Finnish emissions. And if we see also more about our foundries, then CO2 index, we are with a very good trend to reduction. 0.32, it's a low emission factor if we compare with our competitors, and also if we compare with some external suppliers, that is really good, and we are reducing year by year. Then we have more than 90 energy and CO2 projects implemented since 2020. Then it means around 5 million euros of investment on this area. And we had also many other actions regarding water reduction and waste, but it's not included here. Here we are talking only about energy and CO2 efficiency actions. And the net zero plan, it's ongoing. We are basically planning to move and focus a lot on the electrification of our process. Then means eliminating or replacing natural gas, LPG, fossil fuels in general to biofuels. Then this is ongoing, and also green energy source. We will continue investigating and trying to implement this as much as possible in all countries. Well, despite the good trends and results, we believe that we always have a lot of opportunities and a lot of things to do. But as I like to say that a big challenge, also great and big opportunities then behind this. And we are working hard to promote and keep Metso Outotec in the tier 1 as we want. Well, I would like to thank you everyone, and now I can hand over again to Hanno.
Yes.
Please, Hanno.
Thanks, Felipe. Yes, and I think the key message from us is that we have a committed team that is handling this kind of sustainable issues and following up with the KPIs globally. And I think Felipe corrected my numbers, but we have foundries, for example, at least 5 in different countries. And you can imagine if you have Indian foundry or a European foundry, there's totally different setups and where you start from, and the targets need to be still followed, and you take the baby steps, but we are aiming towards this. And in a way, from the sourcing side, Felipe very well, actually I take a couple of slides back here. I like this simple view on here, what is touching our workplace as well, that we do the supplier selection, we do onboarding, we follow up, we take audits, and we get back to the vendors. And in the end, the effect, I like to say, we try to steer the industry by industry. We have different industries, lots of vendors, thousands of different vendors doing metal jobs, from metal jobs to workwear, for example. But each industry, each vendor is going to same laundry, so to say, that, and we want to emphasize to the vendors that please join to the board. And when the decision is made that if somebody is not on the board and somebody is, then we go for the green ones, so to say, or the sustainable vendors. So I have about 15 years in sourcing background, so this is the first time I actually feel that this is something is happening now on the industry field, which is really nice to see. It's not, and I believe Metso Outotec as a company is taking really good steps on this, and strong effort made on this side. So yeah, and we had one slide for Sanna as well as a plant example here in the end, right? Yeah. So those who are more local maybe know Metso site that has been working here about 100 years and doing the crushers, loco tracks here nearby the centrum of Tampere. So even in this old school environment of industrial manufacturing, the steps are found. And Felipe very well also told that how many different sites are doing very much similar things, but some examples that Tampere plant has been doing, and similar aggregates, crusher plants we have quickly said less than 10 but more than 5, so across the world again. And so there's solar panels, there's forklift trucks changed to electric ones, well, LED lighting, waste management, and then of course good to mention here also we have a new plant in plans called Locomotion, which is totally a new step for new era, so to say. So there in a couple of years we start to build up this new plant, which is of course taking all of the sustainable consideration in mind from the first building steps. So
yeah. Sorry, Chana, just to complement here, then as I mentioned, Tampere, we are working with local team to implement this green district heat. Then once this be implemented, then we will almost achieve net zero in Tampere plant also, and no CO2 related with our own operation. There are several other initiatives aiming energy efficiency improvement. Then it's really good job doing in Tampere plant.
Mm. Okay, I think that was our slides, and I thank you for your interest. And I see everybody's still awake. So
Yeah.
Success.
Thank you, Hannu, and thank you, Kaisa, and thank you, Felipe.
Yes.
It was really
Thanks,
great to have you here.
Hyvää päivää kaikille. Mun nimi on Heikki Tanner, tuun Arelta. Olen Arel lakiasianjohtaja, vastaan meille niin kuin puhtaan lakijuttujen lisäksi niin meidän kestävän kehityksen ohjelmasta. Ja kiitos tästä mahdollisuudesta tulla tänne ja kiitos hyvistä puheenvuoroista. Förlåt, jag tar det på finska. Men du kan följa med. Ja mulla on dekki valmistettu suomeksi, niin mä myös puhun suomeksi. Niin en mene aivan sekaisin sanoissani. Mutta Are lyhyesti. Meillä on 3300 arelaista, 30 toimipistettä. Me toimitaan Suomessa ja Ruotsissa. I don't know if you know Kungens Röllekkeri. That's one of our business in Sweden. And then Klimat 80-gruppen i Malmö. Eli toimitaan Suomessa ja Ruotsissa. Suomesta vielä suurin osa liikevaihdosta, mutta ollaan vahvasti Ruotsissa, erityisesti Etelä-Ruotsissa, Malmö ja Göteborgin alueella esillä. Me ollaan 100-vuotias perheyhtiö, talotekniikkaa, kaikkia sen osa-alueita tehdään. Meillä on 60% tulee palveluista ja 40% sitten tulee talotekniikkaprojekteista. Sitten oli hieno kuulla aikaisempia puheenvuoroja ja tässä varmaan niinku samoja teemoja, mitä myös itsellä, mutta mä ajattelen sillä, että niinku joka firmalle se vastuullisuus ja kestävä kehitys on vähän niinku erilaista, koska firmat on erilaisia. Meilläkin on niinku oma tulokulmamme tähän. Se, miten meillä on se kestävä kehitys niin kuin rakentunut, niin lähti oikeastaan pari vuotta sitten, kun Are uudisti strategiansa, jolloin meidän niin kuin yhdeksi painopistealueeksi tuli kestävän kehityksen edistäjä, ja silloin me lähdettiin rakentamaan sitä meidän ohjelmaa. Ja se tausta oikeastaan on se, että kun katsoo globaalilla tasolla päästöjä, niin vähän vaihdellen eri lähteistä ja eri alueista, mutta noin 30% globaaleista päästöistä tulee rakennetusta ympäristöstä. Ja se on se, missä me toimitaan. Ja sitten kun katsotaan vielä, että miten se jakaantuu niin kuin rakentamisvaiheeseen ja ylläpitovaiheeseen, niin itse asiassa suurin osa rakennetun ympäristön päästöistä tulee sieltä elinkaaren ajalta, eikä varsinaisesti sieltä niin kuin rakentamisajalta. Ja se on se paikka just, missä Are erityisesti toimii, missä meillä on iso vaikutusmahdollisuus. Ja tämä on niin kuin meillä firmassa aikanaan, kun tämän sain niin kuin vastuulleni ja niin kuin vähän ummikkona lähdin tätä sitten niin kuin opettelemaan ja tekemään ja mietin, että minkälaisen niin kuin vastaanoton tämä saa meillä. Hyvin perinteinen business kuitenkin, teknistä tekemistä, mutta tämä on otettu erittäin niin kuin lämpimästi vastaan ja tämä on meidän porukka on ottanut tämän hyvin itselleen ja me nähdään, että täällä on iso bisnesarvo. Tämä on ihan niin kuin hardcore-liiketoimintaa meille, että tämä ei ole ainoastaan sitä, että me ikään kuin siivotaan niin kuin omaa jälkeämme, vaan me myös niin kuin rakennetaan sitä kestävää yhteiskuntaa ja pystytään niin kuin tuomaan asiakkaille päästövähennyksiä ja energiansäästöä. Ja lisäksi täällä on tietenkin tosi iso merkitys meidän niin kuin työnantajamielikuvaan ja brändiin. Se, mihin me ollaan niin kuin ankkuroitu, se meidän oma ohjelma ja tekeminen on tämä YK:n Global Compact, yritysvastuu-aloite, ja sen pohjalla me ollaan tämä oma ohjelmamme rakennettu. Me ollaan samalla tavalla kuin Fristads käytetty näitä Sustainable Development Goals, eli kestävän kehityksen niin kuin targetteja, ja valittu sieltä ne meille niin kuin tärkeimmät painopistealueet. Varmaan yleensä, kun puhutaan kestävästä kehityksestä vastuullisuudesta, niin on se ESG, eli ESG, vähän eri järjestyksessä tässä niin kuin suomenkielisellä dekillä. Ja se, niin kuin miten me niin kuin lähdettiin vähän samalla kuin Fristads, että mitkä on ne olennaiset niin kuin osa-alueet, että missä syntyy niin kuin suurin vaikuttavuus, että ei voida niin kuin Are on iso firma, mutta mekään ei voida niin kuin pyristellä joka suuntaan ja kaikkialle, vaan sitten ikään kuin valita se, että missä syntyy se suurin vaikuttavuus, koska silloin sillä on oikeasti jotain merkitystä. Ja varmaan tuossa niin lähtee sosiaalista puolesta, niin meillä on se 3300 työntekijää ja me työskennellään rakennustyömailla, me työskennellään siis vaarallisissa olosuhteissa, joissa sattuu paljon. Että rakentaminen toimialana on edelleen valitettavasti, niin kuin siellä sattuu vakavia tapaturmia, niin siitä on helppo olla. Me ajateltiin, että työturvallisuus on aika niin kuin obvious juttu meille. Sitten me ollaan myös, ja se on yksi meidän niin kuin targeteista. Sitten katsotaan sitä ympäristöpuolta. Meillä on Suomessa ja Ruotsissa yhteensä noin 1000 pakettiautoa, huoltoajoneuvoa, kun me kuljetaan paikasta toiseen ja käydään huoltamassa meidän kiinteistöjä. Se on aikamoinen niin kuin autofliitti ja siitä syntyy aika iso päästö. Se on meille niin kuin olennainen ympäristönäkökulma. Se miten me haaskataan se meidän autofliitti. Sitten jos katsoo taas meidän, niin kuin, jos verrataan niin kuin Metso Outoteciin, niin meillä ei ole varsinaisesti tuottavaa teollisuutta, ei ole ollenkaan. Meidän toimistot on hyvin niin kuin köykäisiä. Kulutetaan hyvin vähän sähköä, hyvin vähän vettä. Että se ei ole ehkä se niin kuin meidän niin kuin fokusalue, tai missä me voidaan ainakaan sanoa, että me tehdään se suurin ero niin kuin isossa mittakaavassa, vaan se on se autofliitti, ja sitä me pyritään pienentämään. Mutta sitten se toinen näkökulma, missä se kääntyy sit ihan niin kuin puhtaaksi niin kuin liiketoiminnaksi, on energiasäästöt. Et nykyinen varsinkin niin kuin energiakriisi on varmasti niin kuin lisännyt kaikkien tietoisuutta siitä että mitä se maksaa, mutta sitten se myös, että mitä se tarkoittaa niin kuin päästötasoilla. Että niin kuin mä sanoin, että 30% jopa maapallon päästöistä tulee rakennetusta ympäristöstä. Sitten kun katsoo vaikka tällaista paikkaa, missä me ollaan, missä niin kuin ledit palaa, niin voi vaan kuvitella, kuinka paljon täällä on tekniikkaa. Kuinka iso merkitys sillä, että miten tämän kokoista mökkiä ajetaan, miten sitä huoletaan, miten sitä ylläpidetään, niin sillä on aivan niin kuin dramaattinen vaikutus siihen, että paljonko tästä syntyy päästöjä, mutta myös siihen, paljonko tämä maksaa ylläpitää tällaista. Ja sitten tuolta niin kuin talous-hyvä hallintopuolelta meillä on tavoitella kestävä kasvu, nollatoleranssi väärinkäytöksiä kohtaan. Sitten tässä on meidän KPI-mittaristo, mihin jo vähän niin kuin viittasinkin. Eli tuo työturvallisuus. Oli hieno katsoa, että Metso Outotecillä niin kuin todella kovia lukuja tuolta niin kuin työturvallisuuspuolelta. Voi sanoa, että niin kuin ehkä meidän niin kuin teollisuuden alalla, kun me ollaan päässyt tuonne 5, niin se alkaa olla jo niin kuin tosi kova luku meidän toimialalla. Ja meillä on muun muassa meidän niin kuin rahoitusta on kytketty siihen, että kuinka hyvin me pärjätään työturvallisuudessa, me saadaan sen edullisempaa lainarahaa. Turvallisuushavainnot, eli se preventiivinen puoli, että pyritään sitä työturvallisuutta parantamaan. Sitten jos mä nostan tuolta ympäristöpuolelta, niin me koko aika pyritään niin kuin se meidän kädenjälki, eli kuinka paljon me luomme hyvää, niin me ollaan aika vakuuttuneita, että se on aika iso. Me ei vaan vielä olla kovin kyvykkäitä niin kuin mittaamaan ja raportoimaan kaikkea, mutta jatkuvasti niin kuin siinä parannamme ja löydämme niitä niin kuin parhaita konsepteja, mitä me voidaan sitten tarjota asiakkaillemme. Viittasikin jo noihin huoltoajoneuvoihin. Siinä me tavoitellaan 30% päästövähenemää ajattuna kilometriä kohden. Ja me tehtiin, ei olla vielä sitä niin kuin julkistettu, mutta tuossa hiljattain tehtiin päätös, että me siirrytään Suomessa käyttämään uusiutuvaa dieseliä, mikä käytännössä leikkaa 90% meidän autofliitin päästöistä Suomessa. Ehkä nostan vielä tuolta myös tämä hankintaketjuhallinta meille tosi tärkeä ja niin kuin eettisiin ohjeisiin sitoutuminen. Se, että meillä on täällä niin kuin toistaiseksi viiva, ei tarkoita sitä, että se luku olisi 0, vaan meillä on joka ikisessä sopimuksessa on meidän Code of Conduct. Meillä ei vaan ole tällä hetkellä sellaista sähköistä työkalua, millä me voitaisiin se mitata ja luotettavasti raportoida, mutta se tulee tässä tulevaisuudessa. Sitten me myös, tämä oli oikeastaan osana sitä meidän niin kuin strategiatyötä ja miten me siihen meidän niin ohjelmaan niin kuin tavoitteisiin päädymme, että mitkä on ne meidän panokset ja minkälaista arvoa me niin kuin luodaan yhteiskuntaan. Että sieltä huomasimme, että me luodaan niin kuin aika merkittävää arvoa ympäröivään yhteiskuntaan, että energiasäästöjä, me vähennetään hiilidioksidipäästöjä, me maksetaan aika paljon veroja tähän ympäröivään yhteiskuntaan, meillä on paljon työntekijöitä ja elätetään sitten niin kuin ton hankinnan kautta myös niin kuin aika iso ekosysteemiä ympärillämme. Sitten tähän niin kuin loppuun niin kuin otan pari juttua, että, niin kuin, että mitä sen mä ajattelen, niin kuin, parhaimmillaan tavallaan se kestävä kehitys on käytännössä. Ja mun mielestä silloin, kun se on olennainen osa sitä liiketoimintaa, itse sitä niin kuin liiketoimintamallia, businessmallia, niin silloin se on niin kuin, se elää kaikista niin kuin voimakkaimmin ja silloin se tilaus niin kuin olemassa. Tuossa on ehkä vasemmalla puolella on mikä erityisesti lämmittää itseäni, että tämä ei ole Arella, ei ole selkeästikään, tämä ei ole mikään pääkonttorijuttu, vaan tämä on jalkautunut meille ihan tuonne operatiiviselle tasolle, että meidän porukka, jotka työskenteli Cityconin kohteessa pikkulippulaivassa, sitä oltiin purkamassa, niin he huomasivat, että ei itse, täällä on ihan niin kuin se oli menossa, kaikki oli menossa niin kuin purkuun ja jätteeksi, niin huomasivat, että täällä on ihan tajuttoman määrä, niin kuin, että näillä on elinkaarta jäljellä vielä. Meidän kaverin havainto johti siihen, että sieltä uusiokäyttöön saatiin 8 kuorma-autollista talotekniikkaa, mikä niin kuin on paitsi niin kuin ympäristöteko, mutta säästi jälleen kerran niin kuin asiakkaalle aika pitkän pennin. Sitten mä otan toisen esimerkin tuosta, niin me tehtiin tuossa hiljattain yksi tämmöinen yrityskauppa. Me ostettiin tämmöinen Enerts-niminen yhtiö tai osake-enemmistö siitä ja yhtiöperustaja jatkaa vielä mukana siinä. Tekee energiatehokkuushankkeita. Erittäin valmis, niin kuin hyvä konsepti. Ja sitten jos katsoo tässä niin kuin lukuja ja millaisia, tämä on yksi toteutettu hanke. Investointi 1,2 miljoonaa vuodessa, säästät 300 000 euroa takaisin energiakustannuksina. Niin nämä on niin kuin tavallaan investointivinkkelistä, varsinkin niin kuin nykyisenä aikana nämä on aika lailla niin kuin voisin sanoa, että niin kuin no-brainer-päätöksiä investoida niin kuin energiatehokkuuteen. Ja sitten mitä se tarkoittaa niin kuin vähentyneenä CO2-päästöinä, niin on aika niin kuin huikeita juttuja, ja että jos teillä on kiinteistöjä, niin olkaa meihin yhteydessä, niin varmasti löydetään niin kuin keinoja säästää sieltä energiaa ja todella niin kuin taloudellisesti järkevällä tavalla. Eli tämmöinen pieni kaupallinen tiiseri vielä tähän loppuun, jos se sallitaan. Mutta sitten mä otan vielä esiin niin kuin lopuksi sen, että me ei olla vielä niin kuin laskettu sitä Scope 3 laisinkaan, se tulee meillä jossain vaiheessa, mutta on niin kuin tosi tärkeä on niin kuin meidän kumppanit ja vaikkapa, että meillä on se 3300 työntekijää, niin millaisia työvaatteita he käyttää, ja me paljon ollaan sitä tutkittu, mutta haluttaisiin vielä niin kuin tukea siihen apuun siihen niin kuin kierrätykseen ja millaisia ratkaisuja me voidaan siinä niin kuin työvaatekierrätyspuolelle löytää. Mutta tässä oli mun tiivis paketti kestävästä kehityksestä Arella.
Kiitos Heikki. Yes, seuraavana meillä oli sitten Lappas. So, Lappas.
Okay, so my name is Anastasios Lappas, but all my colleagues and friends call me Lappas, and I am the head of design and innovation at Fristads. I've been there for almost 9 years, and I have a team of about 11 people, 9 people in Sweden, and 2 of them at in Eastern European country. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how we are designing the Fristad collections and how we are thinking sustainability. So good design leads to sustainable development. Often when I start a development with my team, we have like a blank paper. So everything starts from that. That is how we think when we do it at Fristad. So sustainability is something that we need to take in all steps, and to like paint that development with. So if we just take and go through the 6 sustainable design principles that we have at Fristads. And all of these principles we integrate in all steps through like the idea to we get a garment in our house, so to say. So the first one is always to aim to increase the durability of the product through design. That is something that we could be like doing look at the seams or reinforcements and so on, and that we will go through later on in the presentation. The second one, design the garment with reuse and recycling in mind. That could be how to change zippers symbol, for example, or change buttons if something is falling off. The third one is use materials and trims that have low environmental impact. That could be, for example, that we are using recycled polyester zippers or plastic buttons that are made of recycled material. The fourth one, use development and manufacturing process that are sustainable and energy efficient. That could be how we are doing our patterns, for example, how we do the pattern on a trouser and how we think how it should be sewn. The fifth one, always aim to use local resources. So if we produce, for example, in Asia, in a specific country, there we try to use as much local resources, so it's nearby the production site, so to say. And 6, ensure environmental awareness in all steps, and that is something that we have talked about before today. We talk with all our like production sites and material where we buy the materials and so on, and trims. So we have all steps within the development. So if we go through a little bit more about what all these steps means for us at Fristads when we develop. So always aim to increase the durability of the product through design. Durability is a design goal. So every time we do a new garment, this is the goal that we have, so to say, to have so in the end that we get a durable garment. We use, for example, high quality materials where we test in our own laboratory, but also external labs and so on. That's a key because that is something that we built up the garment with. So that is the building, the material that we are using. Reinforcements, we are using specific reinforcements like for the knees, for example, where we have like a huge we need to have it because we have like for example knee pockets and in the end of the trousers and so on. Durable seams, there we are working with double seams with bar tacks, for example, where you see where you can have like more tension in the different areas of the garment, and also through durability tests by end users. So every time we develop a new garment or a new collection, we always have this test by our end users. So if we develop a new trouser for a carpenter, for example, we do a test with several people, like 10, 15, 20 people, and we have this test done for maybe 8 weeks, and then we take all the developments back and evaluate everything that has been done during that time. So we develop the fabric, for example, with our raw department. We develop the fitting. We evaluate the pockets and so on. So everything has all these steps is going through this test, so to say. So if we take the next one, design the garment with reuse and recycling in mind. Choose smart designs that simplifies recycling, and that could be, as we talked before, like we do constructions on the garments where you can use, where you can take away or change zippers, very simple. Or you can, for example, we developed a button, a jeans button, where you can screw it off instead of like taking it off like with mechanical, so to say. So we have different designs options, so to say, within our process, what to choose. Facilitate the possibility to shred the garment and use the fibers. That is what I talked a little bit about before, that we doing with simple steps. You can take away zippers, buttons, and other trims that you are using in the garment when we built it. So you can just have the fabric, so to say, and shred it more simple. Make it easier to separate zippers, buttons, and other trims. Also benefits repairing. That we have talked about. Use surplus materials in limited collections. Sometimes when we have materials left over, so we haven't used up the whole fabric that was thought that we would use for a specific collection, then we take that fabric and do something else with. For example, what I'm wearing today, this is a color that we didn't proceed with, and we had some surplus material over, and then we did this kind of collections, and that we are doing like 2-3 times per year. We're doing that kind of limited collections. Yes, and if we take the third one, use materials and trims that have low environmental impact. Like recycled materials. We are working a lot with recycled polyester, for example, in our new developments. Bio-based materials, our newest high visibility collection, the GSTP collection, has this bio-based material in it. Organic cotton is also something that we are using a lot in new developments. Sustainable produced materials that require less water consumptions. There we are working with a company that maybe you have heard about it, E-dye, where you color the for example the polyester in a granulate stage, and then you put the color on that granulate, and then you spin the thread, so to say. So the waste of water is not that huge as it is in a normal process. When we take materials that requires less energy to process, that could be one, of course, as we talked about before, the water wastage and so on. And then reduce the use of metal in the garments. There we are using a lot of thread, for example. We are taking away the eyelets, where you have like strings and so on hoods and on the bottom of the jackets. We're doing sewed eyelets instead. But also, for example, bar tacks. We use bar tacks instead for metal bar tacks at the pockets. So we have like since maybe 3 years back, we have started a project within Fristads that we call the Strive project, and that is to strive to decrease metal, one of the points. And we have until now come up to like we have decreased about 30 to 35% of metal in our garments. So that is something that we always doing with the new developments. We are looking at how much metal we are using, both when it comes to zippers and reinforcements and so on. Yes. So if we take the fourth one. Use development and manufacturing process that are sustainable and energy efficient. And that is to avoid unnecessary waste in production plants. And that is how efficient we are doing our patterns and layouts, so to say. So if we have an efficiency of 90 and above, then it's a good efficiency when we are doing all our layouts on our cuttings, so to say. So that is something that we always aim for. Cut usage of thread, and that one could be like if we have like an embroidery, for example, and that embroidery takes a freestyle embroidery or a customer embroidery, and it takes like a certain amount of stitches to do. Then we go in and look how can we simplify that embroidery to take it down in amount of stitches. That means it will take less time in the machine, and it would take also less sewing thread. So everything decrease the energy and so on, and the environmental impact. Then we are talking also about to reduce sewing time to save energy. We have, when we did our first EPD collection, like it was like 3 or 4 years back, I started to think, how can we find a new way of doing the traditional patterns? How can we decrease the sewing time in the machinery, so to say, in the machine? And we have found out a new way of how to fold the garment in the machine and sew shorter lengths, and that decreased the time in the sewing. So both energy, but also thread consumption and so on. Next is use new ways of folding the garments to reduce the use of plastic bags. In the same project that we had when we developed the new EPD garments, we wanted to find a new way how to decrease the plastic bags around the garment. And there, as you see in the picture, we do something that we call as ranger folding. So we fold the garment inside itself and transport it in a bigger plastic bag instead. And we were surprised because when we did this in the first time, we had like we had a project with T-shirts, and we found out that we can put 30% more T-shirts in the carton than the traditional way, but also that we took away the plastic bags. So transport was a huge plus for us, so to say. Really good. And then optimize the use of transport capacity. It was about this. For example, T-shirt that we did, but that we have implemented also in other developments. So that kind of ranger folding we're doing in maybe 15% of our garments now, and we are starting to evaluate how we can do it on more garments in our collection. If we take the fifth one, always aim to use local resources. And here reduce the environmental impact from transports. And there we are looking into very much when we are developing a garment, how many different components it should be in a garment. How can we pick the shortest way to the production site? So if we have a fabric from one country and produce in the same country, then we try to develop the trims or at least find suppliers that can provide us with the trims close by. So the transports always will be the shortest. And again, with the material should come from nearby producers. So if we produce a garment in Asia, we try to source the fabric on nearby. Surplus materials from the production of Fristad green products is utilized on site. So all our developments that has an EPD that my colleague talked about before, all the material that is left over from where we cut in production, that material we utilized on site. So we are not transported or like we are throwing it away. So it's used either in-house or we find different cooperations with companies around the production site. And the sixth one is ensure environmental awareness in all steps. So sustainable design process. All what I have talked about before, everything of that is within a scheme, so to say. So every time we are starting a development, we have this like a box that we check. So every time we have that process to follow. Transparency through the company. Everything that we are doing with the environmental work here, it's something that goes through the whole company. So it could be like our sourcing department is involved to understand why we want to find these specific suppliers nearby. It could be the transport, for example, why we want to pack in a specific way. So all these thoughts is going through the company. And then establish a process for sustainable development. There we have, again, for every development we are doing, we have like a risk analysis. So how is the risk? I mean, both in time and in sustainability and all parts that is taken through a process when you develop something. When we look at close cooperation with production sites and suppliers to ensure awareness, there we are talking with production sites where we produce garments and so on, how they can help us to be better in sustainability, but also how we can provide them with energy, how they can be better. So it's a big cooperation there. Yes, and then we have I think this is my final slide, and I will just go through a little bit about how we mark these different sustainable options that we have at Fristads. So if we see the first, the green leaf, so to say, it's the Fristad Green Sustainable Workwear, and all the garments that are marked with this green leaf has an EPD. And that means that there are environmental product declaration on them. So that you can find either in the hang tags, for example, or in the neck of your garment, or in like a tag. Then the second one is a green square embroidery. And that one is something new for Fristads. That is products made of more than 50% more sustainable materials. So that is something that we have precisely launched. So it will be launched like in this year in spring. So all garments that will have that mark will be according to that. And then we also have a new project ongoing, and that is with the Close the Loop, and where we are taking in fibers into a material. For this first garment that we are doing, it's about 15% recycled fiber, so to say. So there we will also have a marking, and this is only the beginning for us. Our aim is to develop more closed-loop garments where we include this kind of fibers. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Lappas.